Today I'm going to take my geocaching backpack and I'm going to change it from this one to this one over here. And what I'm going to do is, you can see this one here is, I think we've had this thing 10 to 15 years and it's just starting to go. Top here starting to rip on the top. I'm going to try to scale it back a little bit. It's got quite a bit of stuff in it, but we still want to have enough stuff in there for geocaching, and I also like to keep enough gear in there for if I get stuck out in the woods, I have to spend the night out, so I always have enough area for that. But we need to get that combined into this new pack here, and this one actually is a little bit less durable on the outside, but it does have better straps over the shoulders. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take everything out of this one, lay it out, go through it, and then I'm going to explain to you everything I put back into the new bag. So I finally got that one emptied, and man, I found all kinds of stuff. All this stuff was inside of there, and we'll break it down. Like I say, I'm going to go through here and make sure everything needs to be there, but I also had a little extra stuff like half a tree right here, and a lot of stuff that just dried out, was no good. So I'm going to start making a pile over here of stuff that I want to thin this out before I put it in the new pack. And I'll go over each item as I put it into the pack. Now, one thing I did do on the actual new pack, I had some stuff that was hanging on the outside. So I slimmed this down. This is my stuff for getting into caches and signing caches. I have a pair of glasses on the front here. And then I also took the front strap off that goes around the bottom of it, because I never used that bottom strap. So we'll sort through this stuff and I'll tell you what goes in here in a minute. So moving on to the gear that's going to go in the main compartment, the big part of here, I'm going to go over my survival gear first. Basically, it's a space blanket in here. Inside I've got a poncho, I've got a striker, I've got matches, and then I have my bandages as far as my first aid kit. I carry aspirin, and this rope here is going to go in the kit as well. This will go in this kit, and then on the outside of the pack I'll have this baby aspirins with Benadryl, just in case I get stung by bees or I need those baby aspirins. And then on that I also have this is kind of like a small survival sleeping bag. It's kind of like a bag that reflects your heat back on you. It's real small, but it will keep you somewhat warm if you need that. And I'm basically going to put all this here into this kit. That'll be the first bottom layer that goes in the bottom of my pack. So that's that gear pushed in this one small little bag. That'll go on the bottom. And again, I'm going to have a bite and sting kit that'll go in there as well. Supposedly there's a suction device and some stuff to take care of if it's bee stings or if you were to get bit by a snake, but hopefully that wouldn't happen. And then going over to, this is a water filter that I carry. It's the Be Free by Canadine. I'm not sure exactly how to say that, but it's a filter system, and I have an extra bag from Sawyer so I can actually fill water up. I can strain it through here and drink this. I have used this before. One time I was running out of water in the South Dakota area, so this will go into this kit right here. Three more things that'll go on that main pack is I've got a selfie stick here, which I don't use very often, but it comes in handy if I do need to pull that out and get like a picture over of a ledge or where I'm hiking. And then I also have a saw, tree saw, kind of dirty there, tree saw. And it's hard to find these, a small one like this. And then I also have, usually I carry one GPS with me depending on where I'm at. This one here is actually the one that has the topos on it, so I'll either have the topo one or I'll have my other GPS, which has most of my maps on this one here. And you can combine these two if you only have a single GPS, but this way I've got one dedicated for each one. So I'll have one of these stored in that big compartment, the one that I'm not using. So the next thing I have is a headlamp. This will be stored in that center section. And what I do with the headlamp is, you don't want to store normal batteries in here. I've got lithium batteries, which are these little ones right here. They're pale blue. They're kind of lightweight, and they hold a charge and they will not leak out. So that's the key there, is you don't want anything, a battery that's in here, unless you're checking it regularly, because it will leak out and destroy this headlamp. Another thing I do is I try to maintain everything the same size. These are AA batteries in here, and of course the AA batteries in my GPS. So that's why I have a pack with batteries. It's always extra batteries. I can always, worst case scenario, take one out of one of my GPSs, and I'll have plenty of batteries between all these different systems. But I don't try to put any AAAs on any of this. That way I just have nothing but AA's. Now, the way this pack was designed, it did have an extra little baggie here for if you had a water bladder. So I utilized that for my actual headgear, headlight, and I used that part that you'd normally hang the bag with to hang it in there. That way you can get to it easily, and you don't have to dig all the way to the bottom of your pack. So the next part I have is this front pack here, and this has like a fleece line that's designed for electronics. And what I use this section for is I access quite often. So this is going to end up being my battery pack, my extra batteries here, and my small flashlight, which is just a simple one AA battery in there, and not real complicated, just a simple battery. And then I also have a little pack of medicine here. Basically, I get ocular migraines, where if I get one, I have to take some chewable aspirins, and I actually have a extra strength Excedrin in there as well for that. So I keep that where I can get to it easily. So that little spot there is quite a large pack on mine. So you can see I've got the batteries and flashlight in there, but I'm also going to put path tags that I put in caches and I trade out sometimes. So they're going to go in this little section here. It's because it's easy to get to. So that almost finishes up this front pocket. There's quite a bit more room in there, but I also am going to put a rescue inhaler. I have this because occasionally I do get little problems breathing. Doesn't happen very often, but when you have this with you, it makes you feel better if you need to have a breathing episode with you. So I'm going to put that in that center section. Okay, on this big compartment in the front, there's one little zipper compartment here. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to put some stuff that I don't get to very often, but if I need them, I need them. And that's going to be basically this is off spray. You need to make sure this is in a Ziploc bag, because it will destroy everything if it's not in a sealed bag. So you want to make sure that's sealed up. And then I'm going to have a couple of pins in there. Probably throw in a couple of these carabiners. And that's just going to be the only thing that goes into that section. Okay, when I go hiking, I pretty much take water bottles with me. I do not use these side compartments for water bottles, because I just can't get to them most of the time. And if I'm going to take them, I'm just going to probably put them in the main compartment. Maybe I'll throw one in here too, but for the most part, they're going to go in my main compartment. So what I'm going to do with these side compartments, I'll hook my GPS. If I don't have this, is just carrying it. I'm going to hook this in like this. Basically going to hook it on here. Like I said, this will normally be on my belt for my geocaching, but if I'm not geocaching, it'll go on here. It'll just be tucked in the side pocket, so it'll be tucked in like that. And then on this side, I've got my gloves attached together. And these are just the fingerless type gloves. I don't use gloves very often. If it's that cold for gloves, then this is what I'll have. And they're just tucked into the side pocket here. And then the most important thing is your toilet paper. You got some of that tucked in on this side as well. So that's going to be tucked into this side here, like so. That pretty much does that. And we've got a few odds and ends we'll go over here at the end, but that's most of it right there. You'll see it's not nearly as bad as the old way, but we're getting pretty full. We got a few more odds and ends we'll go over here in a minute, and then we'll go on and I'll show you what it's like when it's all said and done. Okay, as far as on the outside here, I've got a few things I've attached, but on this side I've got this Garmin. This is a Garmin, they call it a Tempe, and this actually gives you a temperature reading that you can read off the back of your pack, and it'll actually go to your GPS. So this is something you can buy, and it's designed to hook to straps. So I'm going to hook it on in here, and it'll be attached to the back of that pack. Couple of last things I'm going to put in here. I still won't give up I got a Canon camera in here. I still won't give this up, even though I've used my phone most of the time, and this is eventually going to go away. This is just something from the past. It's going to go inside the main part. I have a carabiner, and it's going to go on this one piece right here, because what happens is both zippers come up, and if you don't have a carabiner to hold those two together, sometimes if you're really full, that zipper will come open. So I use a carabiner to hold those two sides together where it's zipped. So that'll be there. I have a survival 550 cord. Probably throw that in there because I already had it in there. I'm giving up my little pin holder here because I don't use that anymore. You'll see all these trinkets that used to hang off my pack that no longer will be on here. And I do have, on the other side, I have a strap that goes on my waistline whenever I'm caching, and this extends out and has a piece for that. So I'll go over at the very end here when I get all back together. It's almost there. Stay with me and I'll show you what it looks like at the end. It's set up, ready to go, and a few things dangling off the back here. So there, it's done. That's as far as my backpack. Gone from the old one to the new one. I'd like to say I got rid of a lot of my garbage in there, but actually this is all I got rid of. A lot of stuff that dangles and makes a lot of noise. But basically what I have here is a hiking pack, a day hike. It's got geocaching stuff involved in it, but it also has a few things just to get you by if you need to spend a night out in the woods. It'd be very minimum, but it'd be better than nothing. And you'd have a fire, you'd have stuff to start a fire with, a little bit of something to sleep under, and that's about it. There's a tarp in there that you could actually open it up and make it maybe some kind of little covering if it was raining. But that's about it, and hopefully this one will last as long as that one over there did. So hope that helps you out if you're setting up a geocaching bag. Like I say, if you're just geocaching in town, you don't need something like this. But if you're out in the woods by yourself, this is definitely what you want to have, is something minimum stuff. So hope that helps you out, and we'll talk to you again on another one of these videos. If you have any questions on why I put certain things in there, put them in the comments or tell me about your geocaching bag.